Scoot Henderson entered the NBA under an avalanche of hype. Drafted third overall behind Victor Wembanyama and Brandon Miller, he was touted as a generational talent, the next Derrick Rose, John Wall, or Ja Morant rolled into one. Yet, as we now examine his trajectory, it seems like something hasn't clicked. What happened to the phenom who was supposed to electrify the league? A tale of high expectations. From the outset, the story of Scoot Henderson's NBA career reads like a cautionary tale. Heralded as a future superstar, his rookie season was riddled with disappointment, and his sophomore campaign hasn't offered much redemption. But is it too soon to write him off, or does his story reveal deeper truths about the immense pressure modern basketball prospects face? The NBA is a league built on stories, underdogs rising to stardom, prodigies falling short of their promise, and everything in between. Scoot's journey fits somewhere in the middle, offering a unique lens to examine not only his potential, but also the shifting landscape of player development. Let's dive into the highs, lows, and everything in between, and uncover the complex reality of why Scoot's path has been so rocky so far. The G League Ignite gamble. To truly understand Scoot Henderson's struggles, we need to rewind to his unconventional path to the NBA. At just 17 years old, Scoot made a bold decision to join the G League Ignite program, turning down college basketball. The Ignite was billed as revolutionary, a fast-track program for elite prospects, offering professional-level competition and development alongside hefty paychecks. On paper, it sounded ideal. But in practice, was it the best path for Scoot? During his first year, Scoot showed flashes of brilliance, averaging 14 points per game. His freakish athleticism and ability to dominate in transition turned heads. But his glaring weaknesses, particularly his three-point shooting, a dismal 17.7% that season, exposed a player who wasn't NBA ready. Let's break this down further. First, the G League's unique culture often prioritizes individual performance over team dynamics. Unlike college basketball, where players grow within a structured system, the Ignite program often resembles a get-yours environment. This means less emphasis on fundamentals like defensive rotations or half-court execution, areas where Scoot has struggled in the NBA. Second, let's look at Scoot's contemporaries. Jonathan Kuminga and Jalen Green were also Ignite alumni with sky-high expectations. Kuminga has shown flashes but has yet to cement himself as a key player on the Warriors, while Jalen Green's Houston tenure has been riddled with inconsistency. Are we seeing a pattern here? Is the G League Ignite experiment flawed when it comes to producing polished NBA-ready stars? It's also worth noting the alternatives. Had Scoot gone to college, he might have played under a coach like John Calipari at Kentucky or Bill Self at Kansas, systems known for churning out NBA-ready guards. Could a year in college have smoothed out his rough edges and better prepared him for the league? What do you think? Is the G League Ignite the future of player development, or should prospects stick to college ball? Let me know in the comments. Section 2. Draft Night Drama. Draft Night 2023 was supposed to be the culmination of Scoot's journey, a moment to solidify his status as one of the most promising talents of his generation. But controversy struck early. With the second overall pick, the Charlotte Hornets shocked everyone by selecting Brandon Miller over Scoot Henderson. The basketball world erupted. Was it the right move? Most analysts believed Scoot was the superior talent, a player who could one day dominate the league. But the Hornets, with LaMelo Ball firmly entrenched as their franchise point guard, opted for fit over raw potential. This decision reignited a timeless NBA debate. Do you draft for need or take the best player available? Historically, teams that chose need over talent have regretted it. Remember the infamous 1984 draft when the Portland Trail Blazers passed on Michael Jordan for Sam Bowie because they already had Clyde Drexler? Or the 2007 draft when the same team took Greg Oden over Kevin Durant? Could the Hornets face a similar fate? Meanwhile, Scoot found himself landing in Portland, a team on the brink of transformation. Damian Lillard, the franchise icon, was preparing to move on, leaving Scoot with the enormous task of becoming the new face of the Blazers. But inheriting the mantle of leadership in a rebuilding team is no small feat, especially for a 19-year-old. Was this the right environment for Scoot to thrive, or did it set him up for failure? A rocky rookie season. Scoot's rookie year wasn't just tough, it was downright humbling. Over 60 games, he averaged 14 points, 5 assists, and nearly 4 turnovers per game. His shooting splits, 38% from the field and 32% from three, were underwhelming. Let's take a closer look at the numbers. For context, the average NBA guard shoots around 45% from the field. Scoot's subpar efficiency raises questions about his shot selection and mechanics. Film analysis reveals he often forces contested shots or hesitates to take open threes, a sign of waning confidence. However, history shows us that early struggles don't always predict a player's ceiling. Kyle Lowry, for instance, was far from an all-star in his first few seasons. The same goes for Darius Garland, who transformed from one of the league's worst rookies to an all-star point guard in just a few years. Could Scoot follow a similar trajectory? Beyond the stats, there's also the challenge of adapting to NBA defenses. The physicality, speed, and complexity of pro-level schemes can overwhelm young players. For Scoot, adjusting to these demands has been particularly tough, especially as opposing teams target him in pick-and-roll situations. If you were coaching Scoot, what would you focus on first? His shooting mechanics, decision-making, or defense? Drop your thoughts below. Sophomore struggles. If Scoot's rookie season was rough, his sophomore campaign has been even more puzzling. His averages have dipped to 11 points and 5 assists per game, and his shooting percentages remain stagnant. What's going on? One glaring issue is his finishing ability. For a player known for his athleticism, Scoot's struggles at the rim are baffling. He's converting just 50% of his attempts at the basket, well below league averages for guards. Is it a matter of confidence, poor spacing, or something deeper? The NBA's pace and physicality often overwhelm young players, especially guards tasked with running an offense. But for someone with Scoot's pedigree, the learning curve seems unusually steep. Could it be that the scouting community overhyped Scoot's athleticism? Or is this simply a case of a young player needing more time to adjust to the NBA's intensity? The mental toll. It's impossible to ignore the psychological weight Scoot carries. From the moment he stepped onto an NBA court, he was branded as a generational talent. Social media only magnifies this pressure, with endless comparisons to legends like Derrick Rose and Ja Morant. Interestingly, one of Scoot's defining traits pre-draft was his supreme confidence. But now, his body language tells a different story. Missed shots, turnovers, and defensive lapses seem to take a visible toll on him during games. What's next for Scoot? Despite the setbacks, it's far too early to write off Scoot Henderson. He's only 20 years old, and history is full of players who needed time to figure things out. The Blazers' decision to ease his responsibilities this season could be a blessing in disguise, giving him room to grow without the weight of carrying a franchise. And there are still moments, those brief, tantalizing flashes, when Scoot shows why he was so highly regarded. His ability to slash through defenses, create for teammates, and ignite fast breaks reminds us of his immense potential. Do you think Scoot will live up to the hype, or is he destined to be one of the NBA's biggest what-ifs? Share your predictions in the comments. The final chapter isn't written. Scoot Henderson's journey is far from over. While his early struggles have raised questions, the potential that made him a can't-miss prospect hasn't disappeared. The NBA is a league of second chances, and with the right support and development, Scoot could still become a star. So, what's your take? Are we witnessing the early stages of a future comeback story? Or is Scoot Henderson another overhyped talent struggling to find his footing? Let's keep the conversation going, because when it comes to Scoot, the final chapter is yet to be written.